I'm not sorry.
If you manage to get through Don't Move without your heart racing and your palms clammy, you might want to check if you're still alive. This gripping slasher meets survival thriller features Kelsey as Billy from Yellowstone as Iris, a mother in mourning who craves solitude, and Finn Wittrock as Richard, the relentless serial killer on her trail. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. In this video, we'll dive into the conclusion of this mind-bending film, so let's jump right in.
You poisoned me?
Not poison, just a special relaxant.
Tragedy of Iris. Iris is heartbroken over the loss of her young son, Mateo, who tragically passed away during a family hiking excursion. In her despair, she returns to the spot where he died, contemplating a leap off a cliff. Just then, a man named Richard appears and engages her in conversation. After a few moments of dialogue, Iris reconsiders her drastic thoughts and decides to follow him back to their vehicles. However, once they reach the cars, Richard suddenly attacks her with a stun gun. Overwhelmed, she finds herself bound with zip ties, her wrists and ankles secured, and is then placed in the back of his vehicle. Iris eventually regains consciousness as Richard drives them toward a secluded cabin he has in mind, claiming they will have all weekend together. Seizing the opportunity, Iris uses a pocket knife to free her wrists and confronts Richard, leading to a struggle that results in a car crash. In the chaos, she escapes the vehicle and manages to cut the ties around her ankles. However, Richard reveals a syringe, informing her that during their scuffle, he injected her with a paralyzing substance that will leave her powerless in about 20 minutes. Iris dashes into the woods, with Richard trailing behind at a relaxed pace, fully aware that the effects of the injection will soon kick in. As her limbs begin to fail her, she manages to reach a river and floats downstream on her back. Eventually, she washes ashore and musters her remaining strength to pull herself onto dry land. She finds herself on a secluded property owned by an elderly man named Bill, who discovers her while mowing his lawn. They communicate through a simple system of eye blinks, one for yes and two for no. Bill brings her inside and is about to call for help when Richard arrives, now introducing himself as Andrew and claiming to be searching for his wife. Bill, suspicious of Richard, keeps Iris's presence a secret as he contacts 911. In a shocking turn, Richard attacks and kills Bill before igniting the house in flames. Just as Iris begins to regain some movement in her hands, she pulls on the blind cord, drawing Richard's attention. He scoops her up and escapes in Bill's truck, just as the sirens of the emergency responders approach the scene. Richard pulls into a service station to refuel while Iris, who is slowly regaining her strength after paralysis, struggles to open the truck door. Meanwhile, Richard heads back to his crashed car to collect his belongings. As he does this, a police officer arrives and inquires about the situation. Richard claims that his wife crashed the car while intoxicated, but the officer seems skeptical. When he attempts to speak with Iris, Richard takes drastic action and kills him. Afterward, Richard takes Iris to a secluded boat dock, planning to row her out to dispose of her lifeless body, just like he did with his previous victims. However, while they are in the boat, Iris manages to grab a knife, stabbing Richard in the neck and pushing him into the water. He struggles to get back on the boat, but Iris uses his own gun against him, accidentally shooting a hole in the hull. As the boat begins to sink, Iris manages to swim to safety at the jetty. On the shore, Richard drags himself onto the bank, where Iris stands over him as he breathes his last. She expresses her gratitude, realizing that in her fight for survival, she has rediscovered her desire to live.
Thank you.
Why Iris say thanks to Richard? Expressing gratitude to the man who has kidnapped and attempted to kill you while he succumbs to his injuries is certainly a bold statement. But Iris's final words to Richard carry a profound significance. Despite the chaos that unfolded, Richard remains the person who once saved her from the brink of suicide. He not only intervened in her darkest moment, but through their tumultuous encounter, he has inadvertently reminded her of the reasons to embrace life. Atop the mountain, faced with the prospect of death, Iris was ready to let go. Yet, when Richard held her captive, stripping her of control, her instinct for survival ignited a fierce determination within her. This awakening allowed her to break free from his grasp and recognize her deep desire to live. By tapping into this primal survival instinct, Iris finds renewed hope for her future and expresses her gratitude to Richard for forcing her into such a transformative experience. Her sentiments also resonate with Richard's final words to Chloe.
Trapped in a hospital bed when
What happened to Richard after accident? Richard begins his connection with Iris by recounting a devastating car accident from years past. He articulates the incident in various peculiar ways, reflecting on how that tragic moment altered the trajectory of his life. Iris retorts sharply, suggesting that the accident drove him to madness, to which Richard counters that he hasn't lost his sanity. Instead, he has discovered a new sense of clarity. He expresses gratitude towards Chloe as he witnessed her demise, claiming that in a bizarre twist, her death revealed a genuine aspect of himself that had remained hidden. After Chloe's passing, Richard descended into a life of sociopathic violence. The phone call scene reveals that he has a wife and daughter, yet he frequently escapes to his secluded cabin in the woods, where he has been committing murders. Richard appears to be seeking to recapture the intense feeling he experienced at Chloe's death, believing it holds some deep spiritual significance. This reaction to Chloe's loss is a disturbing manifestation that either rewired his mind or unearthed a darker side that had long been suppressed.
I need you to explain exactly what happened here.
Who sent the police? A police officer discovers Richard and Iris near his cabin, stating he was dispatched to investigate Richard's license plate. Meanwhile, at the gas station, Iris locks eyes with a young boy who appears to sense that something is amiss, even if he can't quite grasp what it is. The boy is accompanied by his mother, suggesting that he may have tipped her off, prompting her to contact the authorities.
What's your name?
Andrew.
But you can call me Andy.
Is he really Richard or not? In Don't Move, we encounter a fascinating antagonist, yet there's ambiguity surrounding whether Richard is truly his name. At one point, he identifies himself as Andrew. And later, Iris admits she's unsure of his real name, which adds layers of intrigue. This uncertainty leaves the audience pondering the importance of his identity. While Richard might be his genuine name, the vagueness suggests that his words may contain both elements of truth and deception.
They still have plenty of company down there.
Nerdy thoughts on movies ending. In Don't Move, the central theme revolves around Iris rediscovering her will to live after teetering on the edge of death. As a grieving mother who has lost her son, Mateo, she finds herself engulfed in despair. However, her life takes a dark turn when she encounters Richard, a man who derives a perverse sense of power from murdering women. Their intertwined narratives reveal profound parallels, creating a gripping cat-and-mouse dynamic that drives the story forward. Names like Mateo and Chloe echo through Richard's deceitful tales, highlighting a disturbing bond between the two. Both Iris and Richard have faced profound loss, yet their responses to tragedy diverge sharply. Ultimately, Don't Move is a tale of Iris's triumph over Richard, enabling her to break free from her sorrow and embrace the possibility of a brighter future. So this is for today's, folks. See you in our next video. Till then, bye-bye and take care.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.